My name is Alex. I am 41 years old. And if you had met me 10 years ago, you would not have recognized the person who is telling this now. Back then, I was flying. I was one of those who were called self-made, and now I watch the cars drive by, and sometimes I wonder if this is my former life, behind the wheel, with music, at speed. It all started in the basement, the same raw one, where 3 guys with laptops and coffee cans decided to launch a project. No investments, no connections, just an idea, a bit of code, and a wild desire to escape the grayness. We made a service. Funny, naive, but convenient. People liked it. 6 months later, we already had an audience. A year later, an offer to buy. But we refused. We were young, ambitious. It seemed to us now we'll press a little harder, and we'll become billionaires. I became the one who runs everything. 2 guys stepped aside, one for health reasons, the other because of burnout. I stayed, took over, started hiring, and then everything went uphill. We launched in several countries, raised investments. I went up to business class for the first time, sat in an expensive restaurant, put on a watch that I didn't understand before. But at the same time, something was changing in me. First, a little more control, then, a little more distrust of people. I started firing on a hunch. I became harsh, dry, intolerant. My circle became elite, entrepreneurs, influencers, people who know how the world works. I lost old friends. I just stopped answering the phone. They called for trifles, and I had meetings, schedules, plans. I stopped showing up at home. At first, my wife waited. Then she got used to it. Then she left. She said, "I'm tired of living with another man." I didn't stop. I was at my wit's end. I was sure that everything was right. Family can wait. Life can wait. Now, I'm building an empire. 6 years after the launch, the company was valued at $200 million. We hired more than 100 people. We had offices, press releases. I was invited to conferences. And then everything went downhill. First, there was a change in the market. One major player implemented almost the same function as ours, only free. Then, there was an investment scandal. Our partner was involved in tax evasion, and the whole chain began to collapse. And then me. I tried to save face. I lied. I put pressure on the team. I threatened. I persuaded. I started pulling money from reserves to cover up the appearance of success. I took out a personal loan secured by an apartment to save my image. And all this on the sly. I was afraid to admit, we are losing. 6 months later, I found myself in front of a broken screen. The laptop turned off. The servers crashed. The auditors found holes. One of the employees leaked information to the media. I was summoned to court, then to the tax office. Then the investors filed a lawsuit against me personally. And that was it. In a couple of months, I lost my company, respect, money, property. The car was gone. The apartment was in the bank. I lived in a rented place, cheap, with mold in the corner. And for the first time in 8 years, I realized that I was alone. My wife did not return. My son grew up and refused to talk to me. Old friends were busy. After all, I threw them out myself. Now I work part-time. I write texts. Sometimes I edit videos. People recognize me. Are you that same Alex from the startup? I nod and leave. I no longer have a business. No more team, no money. But I understand that I did all this myself, and not out of stupidity, but out of pride. Sometimes I wake up and think, if only it were possible to return that basement, the first team, that simplicity in which I was truly alive. But there is no turning back. I lost everything, trying to prove that I am worthy of everything. But I turned out to be just a man who wanted to be a god, too much. Let's move on to the second story. My name is Tom. I am 39 years old, and all my life I believed that, if you are honest with yourself, everything will work out. Not quickly, not right away, but it will. I lived simply. Work, home, family, Sunday repairs, or fishing. I did not chase dreams, because I already had everything that was considered necessary. Until one day, when it seemed to me that it could all be easily taken away. I worked in a company servicing equipment, the kind where you know the face of each client. Foremen, drivers, dispatchers, we were like one big, gray family. I worked there for almost 14 years. Started with a driver, became a logistician, then a senior section. I had a small but stable income. I had a wife, and I had a son, 12 years old, a football player, my pride. I have enough. Even if sometimes I wanted something more, a new sofa, a vacation, a normal phone, I just worked a little more, without whining, without everything changed when he came to the company. I won't name him, let the consequences be just him. New department head, young, confident, on the go, friendly, talkative. Everyone immediately felt that he knew how to be liked. But I thought something else. Something sticky, fake. He was always too polite, too easy, as if he repeated every smile. But I wasn't looking for enemies. I was just working. And he started introducing me to himself. First, he asked me to help with a report. Then, to stay for a planning meeting. A month later, I became his right hand. He started delegating tasks to me, forwarding letters with the note, "Solve it yourself. I trust you." I didn't feel special. I was just doing my job. Then he suggested an internal scheme. Like, there is an opportunity to take contracts directly, saving on intermediaries, and transfer the equipment to a third-party company that we kind of know. He said that this is unofficial practice, but that's how everyone works in this industry. I immediately said, no. He didn't give it. Smiled, said, okay, forget it. I forgot. And 2 months later, I'm supporting the documents without even looking. It was a normal Friday. I was rushing home, tired. He came up to me, held out his pen. Just sign tomorrow. I've already filled everything out. I signed without reading it. This signature cost me everything. 2 weeks later, an inspection began. Some complaint. Someone leaked data, found a chain. The equipment is listed, but not checked against the inventory. The money is gone. The contract. My signature. I came to him. He was calm. He said, don't panic. It's a scam. Everything is being resolved. The next day, he was gone. Not in the office, not at home, not in messengers. I called, wrote. A week later, I realized he was gone. They called me in for questioning. I explained that I didn't know, that he supported me because I trusted him. But in the documents, only me. No letters, no traces of his participation. Everything was organized in such a way that I decided to carry out the scheme myself. They revoked my access. They started an investigation. My wife, for the first time in 15, didn't say a word. She just watched me pack my things at my desk. A month later, she said that he was going to his parents for a while. The son didn't say goodbye. He just turned away. I was left alone, without work, without income, with the stigma of a fraudster, a forger, a schemer. There is silence in the apartment. The TV is silent. The phone does not ring. I wake up, and I don't know why. And in this silence, one day a letter arrived. Paper, with a return address that was not. Inside was a note. Sorry, it had to be this way. P.S. They would have chosen you anyway. I reread it 20 times. I recognized the handwriting. It was him. He shifted all the blame onto me, because he knew. I do not resist. Do not scream. Do not run to court. I am one of those who endure blows in silence. He knew it. I used it. Now I work as a forklift driver. I rent a corner from an old man who almost never leaves his room. I watch the rains, and I do not understand what day of the week it is. Sometimes my ex calls. Briefly, coldly, son, everything is fine. Don't call. I don't expect justice. I'm not angry. I don't seek revenge. I've learned just one thing. Sometimes betrayal doesn't come from enemies. It comes with a smile and a trusting voice. And the worst thing is that you give it the key yourself.